Hey guys, I am back with another video. First time in 3 years, I think. This time it's not going to be a Saddleback video, even though there are more of those to come. So, uh, I have a few more Saddleback products that I'll be reviewing here in the future. Um, but today I have something a little different. I am a huge knife enthusiast, and in fact, I've made a few fixed blade knives. Um, so I love knives almost as much as I love leather. uh, but this has been my favorite knife I've ever owned, and I've owned quite a few. Of course, you know the title. It is the Mini Crooked River by Benchmade. It is a fantastic knife. Um, it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close. It's I don't actually. I think it's 3.25 inches long on the blade length. Uh, the handle I think is right around 4 inches. I'm not much on specs, guys. I'm sorry. If you're looking for that kind of video, it's just not going to be me. Uh, but this knife, I mean, check out this action. It just drops, and that is not straight out of the box. I tweaked this pivot pin just a little bit looser than what it came from the factory, and that deployment, that's insane. I've never had a knife deploy like that. Um, those the Sabenza and the XM18, and I've had a Medford. I don't even remember the name of it now, but it's like the mini G knife that they make. Love those knives, absolutely, but they're just not. I've never had one this smooth, and for the price, I know a lot of people's, $190. How could you spend that on a knife? That's insane. To me, that's about average for what I would spend on a knife, I think. And I don't own that many knives, so I don't want you guys to think I'm out spending $200 every week or two on a new knife. That's not the case. But I will use a $200 knife, whereas a $450 knife, $500 knife, it's hard. It's hard to use it. I just can't. But yeah. So one of the things I really like about this knife is the diamond wood. And at first, I actually didn't like it at all. I was a bit. I just. It kind of looked a little too old school for me. I'm not someone who has to have, like, a new tactical folder or anything like that. But I like G10. That's what I make my knife handles out of. And then, I like woods, but I like more of a burl wood, something with a little more character. So I was going to wait for this knife to come out with the gray G10 that's on the bigger Crooked River, the regular size. And I was standing there eyeing this thing in a case at Shields. It's a little store we have here in Kansas City. And a sales associate came over and said, "Hey, do you want to look at anything in there?" I said, "Yeah, sure. I'll take a look at that Mini Crooked River." I just kind of wanted to get a feel for it in the hand, and just take a little look-see, and ended up walking out with it. I looked up this wood. It's actually it's called diamond wood, so it's not it's not like a piece of wood that you could cut out of a tree necessarily. It is wood, but it's bonded wood and through epoxy, if that makes any sense. So it's almost like a plywood where the pieces are sandwiched in together and all the gaps are filled in with epoxy. So it's like a stabilized hardwood, which a lot of knife makers use, and it makes sense because when you stabilize the wood, i.e., fill in the gaps with epoxy, it it makes it waterproof, it makes it swell proof, it makes it shrink proof, so when the seasons change, it gets hot or cold, the wood's not reacting to that type of change. So that's a good thing. That's going to make it extremely durable for the long run. Another thing I didn't like, it's weird, I didn't like this knife at first. I know that, it's always your new favorite knife and you didn't even like it when you first saw it. Yeah, that's 100% true. My dad used to carry around a buck 110. Well, it was actually, he had a buck 110, and then he had a Schrade Plus knife. I forget the exact model number, but it looked just like a buck 110. And he had it in a quick draw holster, which is a leather holster that the knife kind of sits like this in the holster, and then when you pull it out, it deploys it. So it was kind of a cool little deal. But I just never really liked that knife that much. And I know some people who come from these clip point knives, you know, that was an extremely popular knife back in the day. So, I mean, that just wasn't me. When I saw this knife, I thought, it's alright. It's not that bad. I liked other knives in the case a little more. You know, one of the things I didn't like was this G10 color. And I'm still not the biggest fan of it. I know there are dyes you can do out there, but I don't really feel like dyeing it. This is such a popular knife that I'm sure there are going to be aftermarket parts for it. And as it stands right now, I think this is the only thing I would change, this G10 backspacer. I think it's G10. I'm not 100% sure what it is. On another video called it something else, and it may be something else, but it has the same appearance as G10. Maybe micarta, something like that. I am a fan, however, of this orange anodized pivot spacer that they have in here. Yeah, I don't know, it's just a great knife, S30V steel, great steel. It's not the newest, latest, and greatest, but it has definitely been around for a long time, and it's a proven steel. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. Pretty rust resistant, fairly easy to sharpen, keeps an edge for a decent amount of time. But I mean, just look at this action, you guys. I've never had a knife just... It is incredibly fun to just sit and flip, and it is so smooth. Oh, love this knife. Anyway, just wanted to let you guys know this knife right here, it's perfect. I mean, the handle, I don't have big size hands. I have small to medium hands, and the handle just fits in there perfect. I even have a little bit extra on the end. So I think anybody with medium to large size hands could fit everything around this deal, or this guy. Jimping, it's okay. I could have had it a little more aggressive, but it's there. It does what it needs to do. It doesn't cut up your hand. Yeah, so that's it. So I will keep using this knife and keep you guys updated on its performance as we go. One thing I did do is I bought I didn't buy, I contacted Benchmade, and they're sending me out a deep carry pocket clip. And that's another little cool thing from Benchmade. They want to make sure you're happy, so they will send you free pocket clips. One thing I wanted to mention too from Benchmade, they no longer make the painted black pocket clips. So they're all going to be this oxidized black or silver. So, you know, all the newer knives should be coming out with this type of, it almost looks like an anodized, but they called it an oxidized clip. Anyway, it's just not a painted clip. So you lean on something, you're not scratching your clip all up, which I don't mind. You know, I like that saddleback philosophy that things get better with use. The more beat up they get, the more it's yours. And yeah, anyway, so that is my, not really review, but just letting you guys see the new mini Crooked River by Benchmade. Fantastic knife. I don't know if it's the best knife you can buy for $200 or less, but it's the best one I found for that price. Thanks.